All right, let's go back to the Broncos here for a second. Best defensive player last night on the field, from your view in the press box.
I'm going to go with a guy that we like, a friend of the show, David Bruton Jr. I thought that play he made on, and I've started, as I get older, less, and I know you do it, but I tend to focus in on little areas of the field.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time watching secondaries for both teams last night because I wanted to see how Peyton was matching up against Detroit's secondary, and I wanted to see how particularly the Talib matchup on Calvin Johnson. And there was a play where Detroit was moving down the field, and there was a timeout, and the Broncos replaced 8 guys. I mean, 8 guys. That reminded me of college football in the South in the 60s where you could only substitute, that you had to substitute whole units that would come in and out. Their depth
incredible
is so special.
Yeah.
And David Bruton, who sat over there in the chair and said he really wanted to, if not start, at least spend a lot more time on the field. On that play, there's 6 defensive backs. They're in the dime defense, and I know you could pick it up really here on television. So he's playing what I would call a softball extra man.
Sure.
You play that way.
Yeah. You bring the 4th outfielder in towards the infield.
Yeah, and so he
played in that gap.
He was playing like a deep linebacker, and it wasn't a center fielder like a free safety. It was like a short fielder.
Yeah.
That's what I used to call him in softball. And he was following, and I was watching him. He's following Matthew, because I knew they were going to Johnson. He's kind of following Stafford. He had that. He's leaning over this way, and then the throws to Stafford, who's going to beat Talib, because Talib's behind him so he doesn't get a big play. And he tips that ball and then catches it with one hand, and that really was the end of the game. And I thought, here's a guy that has played, he's in his 7th season, and that had to be one of his 2 or 3 biggest moments personally. And so I would give him the #1 star of the game. I would give Talib actually the #2 star because I thought to hold Calvin Johnson to 77 yards.
That made me so nervous. Watching Talib try and cover Calvin Johnson one-on-one all night.
They didn't give him any help whatsoever.
I know. I think I would have.
And the third guy I would give a star to would be DeMarcus Ware because he set the tone for the defense.
Exactly.
He could have put a tent in the backfield of the Lions. He didn't get to Stafford for a sack, but once, I think. But he was there all night long in his face.
All right, so you gave kind of a 3-pronged answer. I'm going to go the same route.
Well, that's what they do in hockey.
DeMarcus Ware absolutely set the tone. Had a sack and a half in the first quarter and let the Lions know that they were coming to get Matthew Stafford. And Stafford threw a few incompletions because he got skittish when he held the ball a little too long.
Well, he's backed up.
And then I'd give David Bruton Jr. the play of the game. That absolutely was the play of the game, most crucial moment. But I give my star of the full game to Sylvester Williams. They did a phenomenal job stuffing the run. I think at 29 yards total on 18 rushes.
Yeah, but despite
and Sly Williams was really
you become president of the of the fan club of a Detroit Lions running back who's not that great.
Amir Abdullah?
Yeah, whatever his name.
You know what? He shows flashes. I'm not. I don't want him in my.
I
don't want him in my. Although right now I might take him in my backfield if I'm the Denver Broncos.
Oh sure.
Considering what they've got, going on right there. So I'm giving it to Sly Williams, who's not only doing a great job replacing Terrence Knight in that position, but showing an athleticism we hadn't seen in his first 2 years. He's twirling and pirouetting and shedding 2 blocks and
got himself a little personal foul penalty last night.
Yeah,
though.
that's okay. They're surviving those. Yeah. That portion of the big stuff sponsored by the Celtic Tavern.
And let me tell you about just 2 blocks west, and now you won't have a problem parking because the Rockies are finished. But you want to go to the Celtic Tavern either for a nice lunch, take your friends, or go out in the afternoon. It's kind of fascinating to go over there and bet the dogs and the ponies, and you don't even know what track you're looking at. It'll be Monmouth or somewhere Hollywood Park or whatever it might be. I don't think there is a Hollywood Park anymore.
No, they're going to build a football stadium there.
But you can get the tip sheets, and you can read the racing form, and you can have some fun with your friends and bet a few bucks on it. Or you'll find a guy there. There's always a guy at an off-track betting, and you've been to it, that always knows something.
Yeah, he's a wise guy.
Yeah, let me give you some tips. And you know who's the best wise guy? Noel and his friends. Noel gets some real tips.
They know their stuff.
I played golf with him a couple weeks ago. He's the co-owner there. Played golf with him, and he'd hit a trifecta or quadruple or quifecta, whatever it might be, with some friends of his the other night for like no, it's 4 horses. Where you pick 4 horses.
Quadrella
for about $10,000
Cinderella?
for the. Yeah, that's fine. Go over and have some fun.
That's fine.
And the fish and chips is great. The fish and chips are great. I think that's one dish. Fish and chips is great.
That works.
And they have 8,462 Irish whiskeys, and I'm down to my last 12.
When you go to buy a car, what do you really want? You probably want a lot of cars to choose from. And you want the dealership's best price. Not some starting price or target price, the best price. And you want it immediately, not after hours of negotiating. And you want a salesperson who doesn't get paid more if you spend more. Because, well, you don't want to spend more. Well, you're in luck. John Elway wants all of those things too. Better yet, John Elway wants you to have all of those things too. Come see us or click on johnelwaychevrolet.com.